In a bold move reshaping the global tech landscape, Hanhai Group pours a colossal 11 billion yuan into its Indian operations. But what does this mean for Apple's future in the juggernaut Chinese market? Is Apple's strategic pivot a masterstroke or a misstep? Stick around as we delve deep into this unfolding corporate saga and its far-reaching implications. Hanhai Group recently revealed plans to invest 128.2 billion rubles, equivalent to 11 billion yuan, into its Indian subsidiary, earmarking these funds for the establishment of new manufacturing facilities in India. This initiative aims to bolster Apple's iPhone production capacity within the Indian market. Hanhai Group, known as a significant player in the tech industry, already commands a substantial 60% to 70% share of the market with its iPhone production. And it is noteworthy that Foxconn is among its subsidiaries. The heightened focus on India by Hanhai Group underscores Apple's resolute commitment to shifting its production capacity away from China. Current surveys indicate that approximately 13% of iPhones are being manufactured in India this year, with projections suggesting this figure will escalate to 25% in the upcoming year. Ironically, Apple's CEO, Tim Cook, made statements during his recent visit to China in which he asserted a mutually beneficial relationship between Apple and the Chinese supply chain. Cook claimed that a staggering 95% of Apple's production capacity was centered in China. However, this public stance is viewed by some as an effort to pacify concerned Chinese consumers amidst dwindling sales, as in reality, Apple is actively accelerating the relocation of production capabilities to India and Vietnam. In the present landscape, Apple resembles Samsung's past determination to withdraw from the Chinese market. It appears that in this scenario, there is no need to compel them to stay. Apple's reliance on the Chinese market is significant, with roughly 20% of its annual revenue originating from China. Samsung's current predicament serves as a warning of what could be in store for Apple. Domestic supply chain players might experience transient difficulties rather than complete collapse as a result of the loss of Apple's orders. Similar to Ofilm's past decisions, they chose not to heed Apple's advice and establish a factory in India, opting instead to remain in China. The chairman of Ofilm even boldly proclaimed, "I am a Chinese company, and even if I fail, it will be within China." Over the last 3 years, Ofilm faced significant challenges without Apple's orders, witnessing a staggering 90% plunge in revenue and quarterly losses. However, a turnaround occurred this year due to Huawei's resurgence, notably with the Mate 60 series. Ofilm experienced a resurgence, evident in achieving an operating income of 4.5 billion yuan in the third quarter, marking a remarkable year-on-year increase of 48%. Additionally, the net profit attributable to the parent company reached 54.32 million yuan, signaling the company's emergence from a prolonged period of adversity. This once again underscores the interdependence within the industry, emphasizing that no entity exists in isolation. Apple's unwavering self-assuredness may ultimately lead to complications for the company. In a parallel development, Hanhai Group has injected another 11 billion yuan into its Indian subsidiary, a strategically significant move. This action not only signifies Hanhai Group's calculated adjustment, but also spotlights Apple's immense potential within the Indian market. India, as the world's second most populous nation, boasts a substantial consumer market and the promise of a burgeoning industrial base. Apple's decision to expand its production capabilities in India serves the dual purpose of satisfying local iPhone demand and concurrently reducing costs, thereby enhancing its competitive edge. For Hanhai Group, this strategic maneuver not only solidifies its position within Apple's supply chain, but also extends its reach into the Indian market, unlocking an array of promising business prospects. This initiative aligns with Hanhai Group's proactive approach to expanding its global production capacity, perfectly aligned with the prevailing industry trends. Apple's approach to its relationship with China's supply chain has sparked significant controversy. During a recent visit to China, Apple CEO Cook delivered a series of speeches asserting that there exists a mutually beneficial relationship between Apple and China's supply chain. Cook claimed that a substantial 95% of Apple's production capacity is assembled and manufactured within China, highlighting the company's trust and reliance on China's supply chain capabilities. However, doubts have arisen regarding the accuracy and credibility of these statements. Notably, Apple has strengthened its collaborations with India and Vietnam in recent years, gradually relocating some of its production capacity to these countries. This shift implies that Apple's supply chain configuration is not exclusively reliant on China. While Cook advocates a win-win scenario with China's supply chain, clandestine efforts to move production capacity to other nations raise questions about his true intentions. Ultimately, corporate decisions should be guided by the pursuit of long-term best interests rather than merely reacting to short-term performance pressures. Such inconsistent statements are likely to impact Apple's image negatively within the Chinese market. Apple's perceived arrogance in its strategy may risk alienating the Chinese market. Apple's performance in China has been a subject of controversy in recent years. Although the Chinese market has historically been a significant sales channel for Apple, contributing approximately 20% of its annual revenue, concerns have arisen over Apple's response to competitive pressures within the Chinese market. During Cook's visit to China, he publicly expressed support for China's supply chain in an effort to appease Chinese consumers. However, behind the scenes, Apple has intensified its efforts to transfer production capacity to other countries. This seemingly arrogant approach may jeopardize Apple's standing in the Chinese market. Concurrently, the emergence of local Chinese companies in the mobile phone industry, such as Huawei and Xiaomi, has created substantial competitive pressure on Apple. These local brands offer consumers more cost-effective alternatives, making them increasingly appealing compared to Apple's premium-priced products. Failure to adapt its strategy promptly may result in Apple losing its competitive edge within the Chinese market. As Apple makes strides in relocating its production capacity, domestic supply chain companies find themselves at a crossroads, navigating the need for critical choices and adaptations. The inevitability of shifts within global supply chains has been demonstrated by previous cases. Consider the example of O-Film, which encountered pressure from Apple to transfer production capacity. However, they opted to remain committed to China, eschewing Apple's advice to establish a factory in India. Although O-Film weathered a period of declining revenue and profits amidst the ascension of domestic brands like Huawei, they managed to regain momentum through strategic collaboration with Huawei. This case underscores the importance for domestic supply chain companies to adhere to their unique development strategies rather than blindly following Apple's lead. Apple's decisions often prioritize its own interests, which may not align with the long-term welfare of domestic firms. Consequently, supply chain companies must formulate strategies tailored to their specific circumstances. This entails not only proactive expansion within the domestic market, but also the reinforcement of partnerships with domestic brands, thereby collectively fortifying themselves against external competitive pressures. Apple's recent initiatives to transfer production capacity have ignited widespread attention and discourse. The substantial investment by Shanghai Group in India, coupled with Apple CEO Cook's inconsistent statements regarding China's supply chain, has prompted introspection. Both Apple and domestic supply chain companies grapple with changes in the external landscape and mounting competitive pressures. In this era characterized by constant transformation, every company must evaluate its position and devise strategies attuned to its unique trajectory. Drawing inspiration from O-Film's experiences, it becomes imperative to remain steadfast in pursuit of long-term objectives, actively expand within the domestic market, and fortify alliances with domestic brands. These strategies are instrumental in enabling companies, be it Apple or supply chain firms, to navigate the cutthroat competition successfully. Ultimately, it is by intimately aligning with market demand and embracing continual innovation and adaptation that enduring survival and growth can be achieved in the fiercely competitive market milieu. How will these moves shape the future of the global tech industry? And what could be the long-term impacts on the delicate balance between innovation, market competition, and international relations? Feel free to share your thoughts and perspectives in the comments section below. Don't forget to become a part of the Revel Discovery community by hitting that subscribe button to stay informed about the latest technological advancements and innovations. Remember, as we delve into the realm of technology, the possibilities are limitless, and the future is filled with exciting discoveries. Keep exploring.